The unexpected catalyst. The radio telescope array hummed with an electronic whisper, its massive dishes pointed toward the infinite darkness of space. Inside the cramped control room of the Hawking Deep Space Research Station, Zara Reyes didn't notice the late hour. Her wild, dark hair was pulled back into a messy ponytail, coffee stains decorating her well-worn MIT hoodie like battle scars from countless nights of research. Most would have dismissed the faint signal as cosmic background noise. Most weren't Zara Reyes. Her fingers danced across multiple holographic displays, each movement precise and calculated. Something about this signal was different. It wasn't random. It wasn't natural. Each pulse carried a complexity that defied standard algorithmic interpretation. "Come on," she muttered, her voice a mixture of frustration and excitement. "Show me what you're trying to say." The signal first caught her attention 3 weeks ago, a rhythmic pattern buried deep within the electromagnetic spectrum. At first, her colleagues had laughed. Dr. Henderson, the senior researcher, had patted her shoulder with that condescending smile she'd grown to despise. "Statistical anomalies happen, Zara. Not everything is first contact." But Zara knew better. She had always been different. While other kids played sports or watched television, she'd been dismantling radios, building quantum computing models, dreaming of conversations beyond Earth. Her single mother, a network engineer, had nurtured that curiosity, teaching her that the universe was nothing more than an intricate puzzle waiting to be solved. The current signal was unlike anything in the established communication databases. It carried a mathematical precision that suggested intelligence, deliberate, structured intelligence. Each transmission contained nested layers of complexity, like a linguistic Russian nesting doll. Suddenly, the primary display flickered. A cascade of mathematical sequences emerged, transforming from random noise into a structured message. Zara's breath caught in her throat. "Dr. Henderson," she called out, her voice cracking with urgency. "You need to see this." But the control room remained silent. It was 2:37 a.m., and she was alone. The message began to take shape, not in any human language, but in a universal dialect of mathematics and quantum harmonics. Coordinates, distress signals, a civilization's desperate cry for help. Zara recognized fragments of advanced quantum encryption techniques, far beyond current human capabilities. Whoever, or whatever, was sending this message was technologically sophisticated and in profound trouble. Her fingers flew across the interface, recording and analyzing. Each second of data was precious. Each fragment could mean the difference between understanding and losing contact forever. The message spoke of a civilization on the brink of extinction, a species trapped in what seemed to be a multidimensional conflict, their entire technological infrastructure under siege. They were searching for someone, or something, that could help them survive. And they had found Earth. As the full implications crashed over her, Zara realized this was more than a scientific discovery. This was a moment that would change human history forever. First contact wasn't going to be a carefully orchestrated diplomatic event. It was happening right now. In this moment, in this quiet research station, with one brilliant, slightly caffeine-addicted engineer. Her communication systems began to light up. The signal was strong enough now that other global observatories would be detecting it. She had minutes, maybe hours, before the military, government agencies, and every major research institution would descend upon her discovery. But Zara Reyes was not going to let bureaucracy or institutional slowness determine humanity's first response to an alien civilization in crisis. She had a plan. A crazy, impossible plan that would require every ounce of her technical brilliance, every resource she could cobble together, and a level of audacity that would make her scientific peers either worship or completely disown her. The first step was simple. She needed to answer. As dawn broke over the research station, casting long shadows across the massive telescope array, Zara Reyes began preparing humanity's most important message to the stars. The Star Weaver Protocol was about to begin. and the universe would never be the same. The news of Zora's discovery spread like wildfire through scientific and military circles. Within 48 hours, she found herself in a high-security conference room at the International Space Collaboration Center, surrounded by a mix of skeptical government officials, brilliant scientists, and stone-faced military strategists. Ms. Reyes, General Marcus Holloway began, his voice a low growl. "You're asking us to believe that you've intercepted a genuine distress signal from an advanced alien civilization." Zara stood her ground, a holographic display dancing with complex mathematical sequences behind her. "Not just a signal, General. A precise, mathematically structured communication that contains technological blueprints far beyond our current understanding." Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the center's chief quantum physicist, leaned forward. Her eyes sparkled with scientific curiosity. "The encryption alone is revolutionary. These aren't random transmissions. This is a deliberate, intelligent attempt to communicate." The room fell silent. Zara knew she was walking a razor's edge. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and they'd dismiss her entire theory as an elaborate hoax. "I've developed a preliminary communication protocol on calling the Starweaver interface," Zara continued. She activated another hologram, showing intricate quantum entanglement models. "By using a modified quantum communication array, we can potentially establish a two-way communication channel." General Holloway's skepticism was palpable. "And what exactly do you propose we do with this communication?" "We're talking about potential first contact with an alien civilization." Zara took a deep breath. This was the moment that would define everything. "Rescue," she said simply. "They're under attack. Their civilization is on the brink of collapse, and they're reaching out for help." The room erupted in a chorus of objections. Military advisors spoke of potential threats, diplomatic complications. Scientists argued about the practical challenges of interstellar rescue. But Zara had anticipated this. She activated her final presentation. A comprehensive breakdown of the alien civilization's technological signatures, potential rescue scenarios, and a bold proposal that would push the boundaries of human technological capability. "The Starweaver protocol isn't just a communication method," Zara explained. "It's a comprehensive rescue strategy that leverages quantum communication, advanced propulsion theories, and adaptive technology we've only dreamed of developing." Dr. Rodriguez studied the data, her expression changing from skepticism to genuine excitement. "The quantum communication matrix you've proposed, it's theoretically impossible. And yet, the mathematical models suggest it could work." General Holloway remained unconvinced. "And the cost?" Zara had prepared for this. Minimal compared to potential technological advancements. "This isn't just about rescuing an alien civilization. This is about proving humanity's capacity for interstellar cooperation and technological innovation." The next few hours were a blur of negotiations, technical discussions, and intense debates. Zara found herself presenting to increasingly senior government and scientific leaders. Her initial discovery was transforming into something much larger, a potential turning point for human space exploration. By nightfall, an unprecedented collaboration had been formed. The Starweaver Initiative brought together the best minds from global space agencies, cutting-edge technology companies, and independent research institutions. Zara would lead the technical development, supported by a hand-picked team of quantum physicists, engineers, and communication specialists. Their mission: develop a technology that could potentially save an entire alien civilization. As she left the conference center, the weight of the responsibility settled on her shoulders. This was more than a scientific endeavor. This was humanity's first true test of interstellar compassion and capability. Her communication device buzzed. A message from an unknown source. The alien signal was becoming more complex, more urgent. They were waiting. They needed help. The quantum gambit was about to begin, and Zara Reyes was ready to change the universe. The Quantum Propulsion Laboratory was a marvel of human engineering, nestled deep within the Mojave Desert. Massive electromagnetic shielding and advanced cooling systems surrounded a device that looked more like an artistic sculpture than a spacecraft prototype. This was the Horizon Quantum Interstellar Craft, humanity's most ambitious technological leap. Zara stood before the craft, her fingers tracing the intricate quantum-adaptive hull. Months of relentless work had culminated in this moment. The alien signal continued to pulse, growing more urgent with each passing week, a constant reminder of the civilization hanging in the balance. Final systems check, she called out to her core team. Dr. Kai Nakamura, the lead quantum engineer, began running diagnostics. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces, each movement precise and calculated. Quantum entanglement matrix at 99.7% stability. Adaptive shielding is online. Quantum communication arrays are synchronized. The craft was unlike any previous space vehicle. Traditional rocket technology seemed prehistoric compared to the Horizon. Its hull was composed of metamaterials that could shift molecular structures in real time, adapting to extreme space conditions. The propulsion system didn't rely on conventional fuel, but on quantum vacuum energy, a theoretical concept that Zara and her team had somehow transformed into reality. Incoming transmission, announced Lina Torres, the communication specialist. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. The alien signal is intensifying. A holographic display erupted with complex mathematical sequences, a language beyond human communication, yet somehow comprehensible through their quantum interface. It spoke of imminent collapse, of a civilization trapped in a multidimensional conflict that defied traditional understanding of space and time. General Holloway watched from the observation deck, his previous skepticism replaced by a mix of awe and anticipation. The military had initially viewed the project as a long-shot scientific experiment. Now, it represented humanity's most ambitious first contact mission. "We're ready for pre-launch sequence," Zara announced, her voice cutting through the tension. The launch wasn't like anything in human space exploration history. No massive rockets, no explosive thrust. The horizon simply shifted. One moment it existed within the laboratory's quantum containment field. The next, it was gone, leaving behind only a subtle quantum ripple. Space became a canvas of mathematical precision. The horizon moved not by traditional propulsion, but by folding quantum probabilities, sliding between dimensional boundaries that conventional physics couldn't comprehend. Inside the craft, Zara and a carefully selected team of 4 specialists monitored systems that were part technology, part living organism. The ship responded to their thoughts, to their intentions, adapting with a fluidity that blurred the line between machine and consciousness. "Dimensional coordinates are stabilizing," Kai reported. His augmented neural interface allowed direct communication with the ship's quantum core. "We're approaching the transmission's origin point." The alien signal had led them to a region of space that existed in a state of perpetual conflict. Massive energy signatures suggested a battle beyond human comprehension. Civilizations fighting across multiple dimensional planes, with technologies that made human achievements look like primitive stone tools. Suddenly, the ship's quantum interface erupted with a warning. Multiple hostile energy signatures approach. Whatever conflict the alien civilization was trapped in had detected their approach. "Defensive protocols," Zara commanded. The horizon's hull shimmered, molecular structures rearranging to create a quantum-adaptive defense mechanism. They weren't just traveling through space, they were navigating a war zone of cosmic proportions. As the first wave of unknown energy signatures approached, Zara realized they had breached more than just physical boundaries. They had entered a conflict that would challenge everything humanity understood about existence, technology, and survival. The quantum gambit was no longer a theoretical mission. It was a fight for survival, not just for an alien civilization, but potentially for humanity itself. The first contact was nothing like anyone had anticipated. Energy waves crashed against the horizon's quantum shielding, not physical attacks, but something far more complex. Dimensional fractures rippled around them, each impact threatening to tear the ship apart at a molecular level. Zara watched in a mixture of terror and fascination as reality itself seemed to bend and twist. Structural integrity at 62%, Kai reported, his neural interface flickering with strain. Quantum stabilizers are struggling to compensate. The alien conflict revealed itself as a multidimensional war beyond human comprehension. What appeared to be energy signatures were actually entire civilizations locked in a struggle that transcended traditional understanding of space, time, and existence. "We're not just observers," Zora muttered, her hands moving across the adaptive interface. "We're potential participants." The transmission they'd followed originated from a civilization caught in the crossfire. A species so advanced yet so vulnerable that they had reached across the cosmos, hoping for salvation. Their mathematical cry for help now made terrible sense. This wasn't just a war. It was a systematic elimination. Lina's communication systems suddenly erupted with a burst of complex quantum signatures. "I'm picking up a direct communication," she shouted, "but it's not like anything we've seen before." The message wasn't verbal or visual. It was a quantum imprint, a direct transfer of knowledge, emotion, and context that bypassed traditional communication barriers. In an instant, Zara understood the true nature of the conflict. Multiple hyper-advanced civilizations were fighting for control of quantum energy nodes, points in spacetime that could fundamentally alter the fabric of reality. The civilization they were trying to rescue was a key to understanding these nodes, possessing a unique quantum signature that made them both valuable and vulnerable. "The resonance protocol," Zara whispered, a plan forming in her mind. Their ship wasn't just a vessel anymore. It was a potential solution, a quantum key that could disrupt the ongoing dimensional conflict. "Prepare the quantum harmonization matrix," she commanded. The Horizon's systems began to pulse with an energy that defied conventional physics. They weren't going to fight. They were going to communicate, to find a resolution that transcended violence. Kai looked up, understanding dawning in his eyes. "We're going to use our quantum signature as a negotiation tool." Zara nodded. "Humanity's greatest strength has always been adaptation. We're about to prove it on a cosmic scale." The ship began to vibrate, not with physical movement, but with a quantum resonance that started to interact with the surrounding dimensional conflict. It was like introducing a new mathematical equation into a complex system, unpredictable, potentially transformative. Suddenly, the attacks ceased. The dimensional fractures stabilized. Something was listening. "Incoming transmission," Lina said, her voice barely a whisper. "But this is different." The quantum communication wasn't just a message. It was an invitation, a challenge, a test of humanity's capacity to understand a conflict that existed beyond their current comprehension. Zara realized they had become more than rescuers. They were potential mediators in a conflict that could reshape the very understanding of existence. The resonance protocol was about to begin, and humanity would never be the same. Quantum entanglement. The moment of first true communication was unlike anything in human history. The quantum transmission wasn't a message. It was a complete transfer of context, history, and existential understanding. Zara and her crew experienced the entire conflict as if they were living it, not through words or images, but through a direct quantum consciousness transfer that bypassed all traditional communication barriers. They saw the war as it truly was, a complex, multidimensional struggle over quantum energy nodes that could fundamentally reshape reality itself. The civilization they'd come to rescue was more than just victims. They were the key to understanding a cosmic conflict that threatened multiple dimensional realities. "We're not just observers," Zara realized, her mind reeling from the quantum consciousness transfer. "We're potential solutions." The Horizon's quantum systems began to pulse with an unprecedented energy. Their ship was no longer just a technological marvel. It had become a bridge between civilizations, the living translation device that could potentially mediate a conflict beyond human comprehension. Kai's neural interface was overloading, streams of incomprehensible data flooding his augmented consciousness. The energy signatures, he gasped. They're not just fighting. They're communicating through conflict. Lena worked frantically, her communication system struggling to process the quantum data. It's like they're solving complex mathematical problems through warfare, she explained. Each attack is a form of negotiation, each defensive move a mathematical proposition. The conflict was a living algorithm, with civilizations using entire planetary systems as computational spaces, destroying and rebuilding realities as a form of advanced problem-solving. Zara understood then that traditional rescue was impossible. They needed something more radical. The Quantum Entanglement Protocol, she announced, her voice cutting through the sensory overload. The plan was audacious. They would use the horizon as a quantum mediator, a living mathematical solution that could interrupt the destructive computational cycle by introducing human unpredictability, the very trait that made their species unique. They could potentially reset the conflict. General Holloway, monitoring from Earth, couldn't believe the data streaming back. They're using an entire spacecraft as a mathematical intervention, he muttered. The horizon began to transform. Its quantum adaptive hull shifted, becoming less of a spacecraft and more of a living quantum processor. The ship was no longer traveling through space. It was becoming a bridge between realities. Zara felt the ship respond to her thoughts, to the collective consciousness of her crew. They were no longer separate entities but a unified quantum system, their combined human ingenuity becoming a weapon more powerful than any technological marvel. The first response came not as a communication, but as a pause in the dimensional conflict. Something was listening. Something was considering. "We're being evaluated," Kai said, his voice a mixture of terror and excitement. "Our entire species is being computationally analyzed." The quantum nodes around them began to stabilize. The destructive energy patterns shifted, creating intricate mathematical patterns that looked almost like a conversation. Humanity wasn't just making first contact. They were being tested, and they were about to prove that their greatest strength wasn't technology. It was the ability to adapt, to find solutions where others saw only conflict. The Quantum Entanglement Protocol was more than a rescue mission. It was humanity's first true step into a larger, more complex universe. Time lost all meaning. The horizon existed simultaneously in multiple states: a spacecraft, a quantum computer, a living negotiation system. Zara and her crew were no longer simply observers or rescuers. They had become something entirely new, a bridge between civilizations, a living solution to a conflict that had raged across dimensions. The quantum nodes around them began to respond, not with weapons or destructive energy, but with complex mathematical exchanges that were equal parts communication and computation. "We're being understood," Lena whispered, her communication systems translating impossibilities into comprehensible patterns. The civilizations locked in conflict were not enemies in the traditional sense. They were computational entities solving a problem so vast, so complex, that warfare was their method of negotiation. Humanity's intervention, unpredictable, illogical, fundamentally creative, was a variable they had never encountered. Kai's neural interface erupted with data. "They're recalculating," he said. "Our very presence is changing their computational model." The horizon began to pulse with an energy that defied physical laws. Its quantum adaptive hull transformed, becoming a living mathematical proposition. Each moment was a negotiation, each second a potential resolution. Zara understood then the true nature of their mission. They weren't here to rescue. They were here to demonstrate a fundamental truth about existence, that conflict could be resolved through understanding, that complexity could be approached with creativity. "We're offering them a new algorithm," she realized. "A solution based on cooperation rather than destruction." Back on Earth, the scientific community watched in awe. The transmissions from the horizon were beyond comprehension, streams of data that looked like poetry, mathematical equations that read like stories of hope. General Holloway, who had once been the most skeptical, now understood the magnitude of what was happening. "They're rewriting the rules of existence," he muttered. The final moments of negotiation were silent yet deafening. The quantum nodes began to shift, realigning themselves not through destruction, but through a newfound understanding. The civilization they had come to rescue was no longer a victim, but a key to a broader solution. Suddenly, everything stopped. A massive quantum pulse erupted from the horizon, a mathematical symphony that resonated across dimensions. It wasn't a weapon. It was a message, a proposition, a new way of understanding conflict. The dimensional war didn't end with destruction. It ended with understanding. As the quantum nodes stabilized, Zara and her crew realized they had done more than rescue a civilization. They had demonstrated humanity's greatest strength, the ability to find solutions where others saw only conflict. The Starweaver Protocol was complete. Humanity had taken its first true step into a universe far more complex and beautiful than anyone had ever imagined. And they had done it not through force, but through understanding. Back on Earth, a new era of exploration began. The horizon would return, carrying with it knowledge that would reshape human understanding of existence itself. The universe would never be the same.